Welcome to our Watch App course from Eduionics. My name is Brett, and now we're going to apply transitions so that when we click our details view, it will fill in this view. Also, we can set a default stadium. So we're going to work on this view, and we're going to need some outlets for these items inside of this stack view. And let's see, start with name. This needs to not be a header file. We actually want, I'm not sure why it's doing that. We actually want the implementation. We actually want the implementation file. So what we haven't done is supplied a view controller for this. So we need a detailed view controller. So I'm just going to do new file. This is going to be an iOS Cocoa Touch class, and I can call this, just do a capital D, view controller, and this will be a UI view controller, like that. Next, finish, save in the same location. Now we need to associate it in our storyboard, and open up my utilities pane, click on the view controller icon for that scene. Attributes inspector, and then I'll click on the identity inspector, and we'll have our detail view controller. Save. Now when I go into this view controller, open up the assistant editor, and it shouldn't open, well, we have it here. I'm going to open the storyboard, click on one of these, turn this to automatic, and there we are. So that is the one we want. We're going to create these IB outlets. We'll have stadium name, play date, these are all outlets, opposing team. All right, and then we're going to work on our segue. So for our transition, to capture the data that we need to send over to the detail view, we're going to do a prepare segue, and that is going to be this one down here. And we'll create a variable or a constant for our view controller. So this is going to be target view controller, and that is going to be the detail view controller. And we can do segue destination view controller as detail view controller. We don't actually need this right here though. Can go ahead and do this. And then we'll have target view controller. We'll have name. Let's see, we might need to do some unwrapping. So yes, and name. Doesn't seem to be coming through. So over here on our detail view controller, we have stadium name, so that's why it's not coming through. So I'll do stadium name, and that is going to equal the particular object that was selected. So what we need is some way to store the selection. And we have title for row, so we'll need to capture, which we haven't done yet, the selection from the picker view. So we have did select row. And here we can create selected item. That'll be a stadium. It'll be a constant because it's not going to change. So we'll do selected stadium. And this is going to be type stadium optional, because it won't have anything initially. So down here we will set that. So we'll have selected stadium equals stadium manager, stadiums, and then we'll have our row. And that'll pull out that particular stadium. So there's probably some unwrapping we'll need to do here. Right, so we can't have a constant if we're going to be assigning it down here, so it's just going to update that for us. So this changed from a let to a var, and then down here I think there's going to be some unwrapping going on. And what is going on here? So we can finish this now with selected stadium. Actually, The best thing to do, we have these IB outlets and that's fine, but what if we have a stadium object? Then we don't need to assign each of these individually. We can just assign it to our stadium object. So let's do var selected stadium here as well. And that'll be of type stadium like this. That should now be available to us over here. So instead of stadium name, let's see if we have selected stadium. So let me build this form for running. All right, so does that make a difference? There it is. And now we can just come right out of the array, actually just assign selected stadium. I think that will work. Let's see. And we'll put a breakpoint here. And in our detail view, we can go ahead and start assigning. So we want a view did appear, not view did load here. So let's see, view did appear. We'll have super, view did appear, animated, and assign everything. So we can do stadium name. Actually, what our text equals selected stadium name. We'll have play date text equals selected play date. We'll have opposing team as well, text equals selected stadium opposing team. Okay, so let's run this and see if we get the item we're selecting in the picker view. We have Angels Stadium. I'm just going to move this to AT&T Park. View details. So there's our breakpoint. Run through that. And everything is filled. So that was AT&T Park. They're playing the Angels. We can actually add a little more detail for the iPhone app since we have room for it. Now let's see if we go back to our simulator. It's not really a way to get back, so we should handle that. And just going to go ahead and run this once more. See, we have Angel Stadium, view details. Oh, something happened there, so we'll have to check into that. We also need to dismiss our scene as well. So to dismiss, let's add a button right below all of this, and we can go ahead and add these labels, but we're going to work on this button first and just call it cancel or dismiss, but we want a button. So I'll just add that below here like that. And for the name of this, let's see, dismiss I guess is good as any. Now we'll need an outlet. So I'll add that. Control drag. Up here is fine. We want actually not an outlet, but an action. So I'm going to control drag down here. Turn this to an action. Dismiss. Button click. All right. Add a little room there. And I can do self. Dismiss, view controller animated. So I'll just do false here. And for this void, it's just going to be nil. Whoops, we want nil. All right, we can try that now. See if this will actually dismiss. And if I click, go to AT&T Park, view details, dismiss. Perfect. Actually, we should have done true. I'm not sure why I did false, but let's try this once more. See if we get a little bit smoother transition out of that scene. All right, so AT&T Park, view details, dismiss. That looks good. Now you'll notice, let's go to Chase Field. We have our labels, our placeholder text displaying initially. we'll want to handle that as well. And that is what we're going to do next. So we'll add these labels here. We'll handle, also notice on the first one, we're not getting any data. So we'll handle that. See, there's no data here. The reason why is because we didn't do anything inside of our picker view. So that means our did select row here is not firing until we click the picker view. So we'll need to set an initial value that the segue can use right there. So selected needs to be set here. Inside of view did load, we'll just set that initial value for the selected stadium there for the first array item. Then we'll handle the text that is displaying here. What we may do is add these labels, then we can remove our placeholder text. So instead of view did appear, we'll probably just use view will appear because this is happening after the fact. Then I believe that is why we're seeing our placeholder text still there. So we're going to handle all of that next.